Well, so welcome to our first pastor's blog of 2009. A chance for you to hear more about what's going on in the church and just basically get better informed. What are some of the things that are on people's minds, Nick?
There's so many. Well, you did the State of the Church address where you covered basically our financial state. And you talked something about where we're going with building stuff.
Yeah, and that probably bears repeating in case you didn't hear that. Just basically we ended the year with our ministry budget 3% behind. So there's about $50,000 worth of stuff that we couldn't do that we hoped to. But this is a lot better than a lot of churches are doing around the country. And the other thing is our overall giving is actually up. When you add in building special ministries to, India, Africa, Durango, the Good Samaritan Fund and helping in local ministries. So we actually the giving is actually up a little bit from even last year. So in that sense, it's good. We are working on a budget which we hope to pare that down to where it can actually be less than the 2008 budget.
Yeah. And I think it's helpful for people to know that we're in the black. That we're 3% under our budget, but we didn't spend that 3%. We didn't
spend that money. That's a good point, Nick. In fact, we held off on a lot of spending just to be sure we had the funds to be able to do it. Because we didn't, though we have some emergency funds, we did not want to draw from those unless we absolutely have to.
So we're not functioning in deficit spending or
absolutely
something like that?
No.
Okay.
The other thing is, what does the economy in general have to do with, and in our church specifically, have to do with our building program? Well, our last week's building committee meeting, we looked over all of that and said, here's what's going on. We took 3-year pledges to the building campaign for the Community Life Center to a total of $1.8 million was committed. Of course, that was before the recession hit, so the question is, can people follow through on their commitments? Well, so far they have. It's been a little over a year. We've had a little over $500,000 given. So we seem to be pretty much on target. And so we want you to continue. If you've made a commitment to the building fund or if God puts it on your heart to do that, continue to do that. We're doing some things that need to be done that take some time. That includes the permitting process for DEP and Corps of Engineers and the county and state and all those kinds of things. And so that's a little bit tedious anyway. And our feeling is that we're not going to be in a hurry to break ground. Okay. Now our hope was that we could break ground by now or sometime this year. And I think we've backed off on that goal, because we want to be sure that the church and the economy that supports the church is healthy enough to support the borrowing of money to build this thing. And now is probably not a smart time to do that. So we'll continue to get more of the gifts toward the building fund so that we have a greater amount of that's covered by cash. Right. And we're going to keep studying what it is that we need. And so I guess I should say we're moving forward very, very cautiously, but not in a hurry. Okay.
Let me see if I don't want to translate that because it's clear, but one of the things you're saying is there's lots of stuff to do before we build the building.
Sure.
And so when we say moving cautiously ahead, what we're kind of saying, what we're saying by saying that is that our plan is to still build the building.
Absolutely.
That's what we're saying, is that we don't know if it's going to be 12 months from now or 20, we don't really know, but our plan is that in the future of Lynn Haven Methodist Church is this building. So in that sense, we're moving forward. But we're moving so cautiously because in terms of a time scale, we don't know when it's going to be time to make that move in a healthy way.
Right.
So we're not saying, dang it, we're going to build this in 6 months no matter what, moving ahead. We're saying, no, it's in our future. Mm-hmm. But we're going to wait till we're financially healthy. And that's critical right now because we're hearing about churches every week in America that are going into foreclosure because they took on debt that they weren't ready to handle when difficult times came.
That's right. Actually, hundreds of churches. One report says maybe close to 1,000 churches are in foreclosure.
And some of these churches are churches that we would think of as growing, larger, prevailing kinds of churches, and they made what turned out to be bad economic choices. These aren't just dying churches that can't pay their bills anymore.
Right. Yeah, they made commitments and borrowed money, and then the bottom fell out of the resources they were depending upon. So we're trying to be really careful about that. So we're trying to balance faith and wisdom here, believing that God called us to build this, and we feel like we're going to, but he's also given us the wisdom to know when is the right time to do that, and how much of that do we need to have in hand with gifts that people give to us. And of course that could change any time. If God brings some resources to bear, someone comes in and writes a check for $5 million, guess what? We can build this building. So we trust that God will make it clear to us when the time to break ground is upon us.
Yeah. Okay, so what do people have to look for in the new year? We've got some sermon series coming up. We've got some ministries we want to do.
Sure. Our next sermon series here has to do with not ideal, how to, looking at some biblical precedent of how God's people lived under circumstances that really weren't what they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
But God worked in them and caused them to prosper in them, and he can do the same thing for us today.
And sort of the fun of that is we're sort of killing two birds with one stone. It's a seeker series, and in a way it's also an expositional series. Like, we're going to actually talk about the Bible passages in Jeremiah.
Yes.
And at the same time try to speak directly to seekers' needs.
And can we say something about what a seeker series is? We do this 3 times a year. Right after the first of the year, right after Easter, and then right after school starts. And each of those is, 4 to maybe 6 weeks. And a seeker series is one that is focused particularly on the felt needs of unchurched people. So for some of you that are mature Christians, you might be thinking, oh goodness, I know about this stuff. Well, yeah, but just 3 times a year at strategic times when new people are looking for maybe going to church. And this, we also do some advertising associated with this. That's when we really try to reach out to them. But in order to give some extra content, we are also looking this time at trying something new by bringing our Wednesday night Bible study in on the book of Jeremiah and the background and details of what we're talking about and applying on Sunday mornings. So you'll see a tandem approach to this. Sunday morning with the Seeker series, and then Wednesday night with the deeper Bible study from Jeremiah.
Yeah. And also the plan for people looking for deeper Bible study is to have an expositional series again this summer, and to kind of make that a summer
Yes, we did that last summer. We took the whole summer to preach through one book of the Bible, and we got a lot of affirmative response to that, and it gives us a chance to do what we like to do, and we enjoy that as well. So you'll be hearing about that a little bit later.
Great.
What else is going on? We'll think of something later, and we hope to get better about updating our blogs too, so that you can get more frequent updates. And if you have ideas for us, drop us an email. If there's some things you'd like to know about, or you think it would be healthy for us to discuss in our blog, or if there's a guest that you'd like to hear on our blog, then let us know about that. Okay?
Yeah. The best way to send us emails is to send it to pastors@mylhumc.net. Or sending an email to either of us through our website will get the job done too. So give us some ideas and we'll try to answer questions.
Thanks, folks. God bless you.